Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this cool Williams Space Lab Add-A-Ball electromechanical pinball machine. Could I give it any more superlative? Is that what you call it? Any more honorable? What do they call it when you have extra words, extra names? Whatever. What, could I give it any more names? We've been working on this cool Space Lab pinball machine that a gentleman brought us. It was having problems, he said, where it just wouldn't start. It wouldn't work. And all the fuses were pulled out of it and everything. He ordered some fuses online, put the wrong ones in or something, and ooh, blah, 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 blah. And then we did a video where we looked it all over, figured it all out, and put all the fuses back in it, and this is where we are now. So the thing appears to be cooperating. It's a cool machine. It's been repainted at some point. It's kind of got the Jubilee thing going on, where it's got that little thing in the middle where you hit the balls and try to get them all on one side to win a free ball. Since it's an Add-A-Ball, you win free balls instead of winning free games. It's not the replay version. This is not the one that there was 30 of. This is the one that was the factory conversion. So we don't know how many of them there were, but there's supposed to be a little window here that tells you how many credits are on it. But this particular one is a factory converted Add-A-Ball machine where it does not use the replay unit. Okay, so we got the thing where the lock relay is pulling in. We got all of the fuses back in it. They had a circuit breaker installed. 10 amp circuit breaker installed up here where this 10 amp fuse goes, and that's kind of where we left off. So if you didn't watch that video, go back and check it out. A fun time was had by all. It was one of my favorite videos. But now we're ready to try to see what broke on the thing, what the problem is. Come on now. What's the deal, man? I put the fuses in and it seems like it's all right. Well, come on, man. So you know what we got to do? We got to put a 10 amp fuse in here and then just turn it on and see if the fuse blows. Look, folks, that's a good troubleshooting technique. Look for smoke. That's a good troubleshooting technique. Some people, let's say it blows the 10 amp. Don't do this, but I have seen people, they'll put like a 50 amp in it and then just see what burns up. Now that's crazy. Do not do that, but we're going to put a 10 amp in it and see if anything blows or if everything was it had the wrong fuses in the wrong place or something, or what the deal was. But just putting new fuses in it has gotten it this far. So let me get a 10 amp fuse. It's not a slow blow. It's just a regular 10 amp fuse. And we'll see if it starts blowing those. I mean, I guess I could use the circuit breaker, but I want to see if it's actually blowing the fuse right in front of my eyeballs. It'll look better on the video, people. Come on, people. I can't use this. Look, I don't even have it in my hand right now. I'm gonna go get a fuse. All right, new fuse. Let's see if she blows. Not yet. Turn on the lock relay. Everything seems cool. Okay, so the fun part, I don't think I can, if I start it with the balls like that, I think that causes trouble if I remember correctly. So I've got to lay the playfield down and we'll try to watch the fuse through the coin door, I guess. All right, so when I dropped the ball in the out hole, the score motor started, the 1 went off, and the game over relay came on, or the game over light came on. So we're going to try to start it and watch for the fuse blowing. Bam! The fuse did blow. Wow! I didn't expect that it would, but it did. Crazy. Okay, so we got to track down what coil that is that's making that happen. or if it's a shorted wire somewhere, or what the deal is. That's pretty nuts. Okay, so interestingly enough, the game still plays. You can still play it. It's just the certain things don't work. So if we look on the schematics, here's the transformer voltage coming down. And here's the transformer common basically coming down. Okay. And they run into this bridge rectifier. This bridge rectifier then turns it into DC power. The positive runs through a fuse. That's the fuse that's blowing. So all that it's running is the left jet bumper, which is the thumper bumper, also called the pop bumper, and the right jet bumper, which is the thumper bumper, also called the pop bumper. The left kicker, also called the slingshot, and the right kicker, also called the slingshot. So positives. And then we come over here. The left thumper bumper, jet bumper, pop bumper switch just directly turns it on. Same with the right, you get the point. So each one of those is triggered by a switch on itself. So the kicker switch, the kicker switches, and the jet bumper switches. Now, whenever the jet bumper goes down, it hits another switch, and that's what scores. It literally mechanically hits another switch or closes another switch. And that switch is what actually makes the points. So these four switches, all they do is pull in these four coils. So since these are DC coils, they're going to have diodes on them. So my guess is we've got a bad diode on one of these four, or one of the coils is burnt up, although we already looked at them. They look pretty good. Just, the eyeball test. Or we could just have a bad bridge rectifier. So how in the world are we going to figure all that out? Well, very easily. So let me grab the multimeter and we'll start looking through it. Oh, it could be this cap too. So 1.0 microfarad capacitor. I only say it the funny way, people, if it's spelled wrong. So if that would have said 1.0 UF, I would have said microfarad. Well, I got good news and I got bad news. Which do you want first? I'll just go ahead and give you the bad news. I hope you're sitting down. I was wrong. None of these have diodes on them. They hadn't started putting diodes on them yet, since we're still in the EM era. So I was wrong about that. But the good news is, it can hardly be the coils. It's probably got to be either a shorted wire or a bad bridge rectifier, or that cap is shorted. So we're going to test the coils with our multimeter by simply measuring across the two lugs for resistance. So 3.5. If you get anything lower than about 2, that's probably enough to blow a fuse. You don't want them to be that shorted. It's a lot easier to do this with two hands. But still, I struggle on 3.1, 3.2, something like that. 3.4. Now, they won't always be 3.4. It's just these particular ones are. 3.2. So again, we're just looking for, is it less than about 2? If it said 1, that's probably what's blowing the fuse. And you can see on this thumper bumper, the switch turns it on, and when it goes down, that switch touching, that's what gives you your points. And on the kicker, there's one there as well. So when the kicker, if I can reach it, when the kicker kicks, man, it lets that switch close, which gives you your 10 points. Now, did we just find the problem? Did you see what went on here? Did you see how that hit the wires? Interesting. Is that what happened? You saw that, right? That arm was hitting the wires there. It's in an awkward place. I can't tell if that's cut through. It kind of looks like it is. Whoa. So it could be that every time that left kicker hits, it's doing that. Shorten the wires together or something. I don't know. Very weird. Well, we'll keep our eye on that. So let's check the bridge rectifier. Or let's check the cap. To check the cap, oh look. Cap's broke loose. So that cap not being there, would that do it? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know enough about that. I know it has something to do with it helps stop the current from doing crazy stuff or something. It has a purpose. Without that cap, would it create such a spark or whatever whenever one of the pops or the things fires that it would cause a problem? I'll bet the bridge is just shorted. So you got two wires that are yellow. That's going to be your AC. If you put this on a diode test, and then you check from the red wire, which will be your positive with the black lead, to one of the ACs with your red lead, it's basically a diode. That one's fine. So we're testing diodes. That one's fine. And then you reverse your leads. You put the black lead on the... no, I already did that wrong. We go this way. Red lead on the black. That's fine. And that's fine. I wonder if it's just the cap. I wonder if the cap was just broke loose and touching something that it didn't need to touch. Alright, so I put the new cap on there. I verified that the wires were all plugged in the correct place. So that bridge rectifier, you know, they've got to be in a certain way. So it's marked plus, minus, AC, AC. And when I put the circuit breaker back in. When I turned it on, when it booted up, I actually saw the thing twist a little bit with just the juice running through it. Crazy. So, if I hit the pop bumper, it is working. Now the spark there is common. They do that. That one needs a little adjustment, but it is working. Same with that. It needs a little adjustment, but it is working. So they work with the circuit breaker in there. I wonder if I should put a fuse back in and see if it blows the fuse again. It could just be, maybe it needs higher than a 10. I mean, that is a 10, but maybe it's messed up. Maybe it can't trip. I don't know. I hate leaving stuff like that in there because it's not really a fuse, you know. It's just for testing purposes. I don't know. I mean, it's a circuit breaker, so if it's working right, it would be fine, but I don't know that it's working right. And then plus we have the mystery of this. So the orange wire that it was hitting, I pulled those apart just to look at them. It was hitting that orange wire. That orange wire is directly connected to the coil. It connects to here and then through the switch to the coil. So that's the power lead for one of those four items. So it could very well be that it was hitting that. So I'm going to put some electrical tape on that, and then I'm going to put a 10 amp fuse back in it and see if it blows the 10 amp fuse, or if it just wants the magical circuit breaker. Now I don't want to hear any crap, people. I mean, I don't want to hear any crap. That's a perfectly acceptable use of electrical tape. The wire was frayed. Part of the cloth covering was missing, so I put a little electrical tape on it. There were 3 separate wires. Okay? And then I individually wrapped them, and then I put a little electrical tape all the way around the edge, just in case it gets near it again, it won't wear. That's A plus, people. A plus, 100%. Now, I traced the 3 wires. One of the wires is this one that goes to the coil. Okay? The other one is this one. Okay? The third one, here's the kicker. Are you ready for the kicker? There were 3 wires. The third one is this one. Remember what happened? This reset and it immediately blew the fuse. Remember? This reset and then it blew the fuse. So what was going on, I believe, theory, this was pulling in, and when it got around to connecting that switch to that switch, it threw some power through there. The power came over here. It shorted to another one, jumped through here and through here. Bam! It couldn't handle it. Blew the fuse. That's what I think happened. You saw what was going on. Those 3 were rubbed raw because that thing was hitting it. Minor little things can cause major problems. All right, so I got to do the 10 amp fuse thing. Hope for the best, folks. Oh, and I figured out that you can turn it on with the playfield up on this one. It can't tell what's going on. All right, so we're going to try it again. I put a regular fuse in it. Y'all are my eyes, and you're my eyes and ears. If you see it, yell real loud. Did it blow? I saw this move. Did it blow? I don't think it blew. We're still in the middle of the game. So, you know, that's a little problem. Remember, we just went through the whole thing where the game over thing is supposed to... Maybe I did that on the previous video. Okay, let's see if she's going to work. I don't know if it blew. I didn't see it blow. It's working. I'm trying not to get bit. Well, there you go, folks. It was the frayed wires. Who would have thought that? Sometimes they sneak up on you. Well, we got to play it and see if everything plays right. All right, folks, so I took the flippers out, and the flipper bushings are actually fine. They're not worn or anything, but you saw they're pretty low to the playfield. So I don't know if maybe the actual bat is bent or something. It looks pretty good. So what I'm doing is I have ordered these washers that are a perfect fit that just give you a little more height when it sits on the bushing. It'll raise it up the thickness of that washer. So that's what we want. That way it won't drag the playfield. So I'm going to clean these up and put them back in, and then we can test play it. So my thought is, I think this thing's been serviced not too long ago. One way you can usually tell is you can look at the Jones plugs. So I've been going through it and see how the Jones plugs, see how there's the copper or the brass that you can see through there. So someone has already went through and cleaned this thing up. Obviously they've repainted the whole thing in it too, so they did a lot of electronic service whenever they did that. But what I've been doing is I went ahead and went through and cleaned all the switches. On a single player like this, it doesn't take that long. So it took me about an hour and a half. There's just not a ton going on in this machine. The only thing I found that needs a little attention. That's the word. The only thing I found that needs a little attention is bloop. So this coil, I don't know if that's been like that the whole time or if I did it when I was cleaning the switches, but basically that coil wouldn't work. So that's maybe 10, 100, 1,000 point, maybe the 1,000 point coil relay. So I'm going to solder that back on. and then it'll be time to test play it. Here's what the back glass looks like lit up. They have removed a lot of the light bulbs in the middle because of the flaking, but it still looks pretty good. I mean, it kind of looks like it's just designed that way. Very cool. I think we've about got it, but there's a couple little strange issues with it that I figured I would show you how we track it down on the schematics. Everybody seems to kind of like that. So let's start it. So it reset to 0, and you see it says we have 5 balls in play. 5 balls to play, because it's an add-a-ball game, not a replay game. Okay, so everything looks cool. It reset to 0. The Space Lab is down to the S. The looping ball scores 100. And then, I don't know if I talked about it on this video or the previous video, but it has this cool feature in the middle where it's the same one that was on Jubilee. Basically, you hit the balls and knock them all on one side, and on this game, it's set up where you win a free ball if you do that. So you can do it in the middle of the game and win a free ball, you know, to increase your ball to play up to 6 or whatever. You can also win a free ball by collecting the Space Lab bonus, but the only way to collect it is when you lose the ball. So this one doesn't really have a setup where you can just keep winning balls over and over again. You can hit the change button. Those two are what bounce the lights up there back and forth, and are what bounce the advance and 1000 when lit light back and forth. In other words, they're kind of useless. So if I hit it, now that's lit and that's lit, but what's the difference really? Doesn't really matter, does it? So you go back and forth, and then the other one goes back and forth. So that doesn't do much, and we got 100 points every time we did that. So that's working fine. Now if I hit this, it advances the Space Lab bonus. That seems to be working fine. So everything's pretty cool. If you get all of the Skylab, oh, that's weird. Top 2, you get less points. Whenever you get Skylab, it adds 2 to Space Lab. And that's all working great. So now we're up to looping ball scores 1000. So everything seems to be working fine. But here's the one little issue that I found, which is deep in the weeds, people. This is deep in the weeds. We got to dig through the schematics on this. So notice that the light is lit up here on the left because that's the harder one to do. It's harder to get all 5 of them on the left. So it's just interesting to me that they were able to make that work. So what I've been trying to figure out is if that works properly, right? So I've been testing that. So let's knock one of the balls over to the other side. You heard when it went over, it went glunk because you got 1000 points. Well, now there are more balls on this side. So when we get to our next ball, it shouldn't really try to get us to get them on this side. It should try to get us to get the balls all on this side because it's harder, right? So we'll drop the ball. We should get 15,000 points. We're at 5620. So we should be at 20,620. That worked fine. However, it's still telling us to get them all on this side, which is the easy one. It shouldn't do that. It should be telling us that they should be on this side. So that's messed up, okay? And then there's one other little issue that I've noticed. So let's go ahead and get all these. Now, notice we're on 4 balls to play. So if I hit this, that gave us 1000 points. Now, when it goes over, we should get our extra ball to play. So you heard the clunk, because that's us getting our 1000, and then you heard the knocker, and it went up to 5 balls to play, right? So it worked perfectly. Now notice that the lights went out. Now why did the lights go out? That's interesting. Okay, so what happens if I knock the balls all the way back to the other side? We should have our 1000 on too, right? It just made it, so we're at 23,620. That time it didn't, and the light went out. The light's on, but it's not scoring. Scored that time. Okay, so now we're about to get the 5th ball over here, but we shouldn't win a free game because it's not lit up. But we won a free game. I mean, a free ball. So now we're up to 5 balls to play. 6 balls to play. So this whole thing ain't working right. It doesn't always score when you roll over. And it lets you just keep winning. So if I go back the other way, notice it scored every time that we went that way, right? It gave us another one. It's not supposed to do that. The lights are out. So let's look in the schematics and see if we can figure it out. So how in the world do you figure something like that out that's just this crazy little thing and it's kind of deep in the game and you gotta, it's only if this happens and blah, 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 blah. How do you figure that out? Well, the lights went out. So that's the first, we want to look at the lights and see what makes them come on. So there is the left captive ball lane light and the right captive ball lane light. So what makes those two change? It's whether or not the captive ball relay is on. So if it's not on, the right captive ball lane light is lit. If it is on, the left captive ball lane light would be on. So that's what wags the light back and forth, the captive ball relay. But after we won one, the lights went out, which kind of makes sense. It sounds like that's probably how it's supposed to be. So if you go back a little bit, you see that the only way these lights ever get power is if these 5 balls in line relay hasn't been pulled in. So when this relay pulls in, this normally closed switch is going to open, and then it's going to go over here, and this is going to be normally closed. I mean, this is going to be closed. So then the power will come along, and it will light up the number 1 looping ball's 1,000 point light. Not to be confused with the number 2 looping ball's 1,000 point light. So when does that one come on? Well, it would be on if the 5 balls in line relay hasn't been pulled in. So in other words, you haven't got 5 balls in line yet. The power would come down to here. And then depending on if the Space Lab relay has been pulled in, it either lights up the 100 point light or the 1,000 point light. Right? So if you collect the Space Lab relay, it pulls up here, and now all of those looping balls are worth 1,000 points. Okay? But once you get the 5 balls, that relay pops over here, and then these 2 lights will go out because there's no power going to it. Also, the 100 and 1,000 lights will go out because there's no power coming down here. And that's why they light up the 1,000, the looping ball's 1,000 point light. They literally have 2 lights in there that do the same thing. So what is our problem? Well, for one, the captive ball relay isn't going over when it should, so that it can, you know what I mean? Like the little trick I was saying where it can tell which side has more balls. So this relay is not coming on when it should. And then the 5 balls in line relay, whenever the power goes over here so that the lights are not lit anymore, it's still letting you score an extra ball. So let's see, how do you score an extra ball? So here is the ball count step-up unit. And the way it gets its power is through the game relay and a score motor switch. If the coin relay pulls in, so when the coin relay pulls in, blah, 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 okay? But there's this other little line here. It can also get power through this jack on the back of the game. It says Space Lab Special Score and Rocket Special Score. So that's the Rocket Special when you get 5 in a line. Well, there's this little jumper you can move to set it on different things. Well, this is an add-a-ball game, so it should be set on add-a-ball. So these 2 lines would plug into here, which are both connected to the ball count step-up unit. So if power were to come down either one of these lines, it would add a ball. So here's our rocket one that we're interested in. If this was connected here, when this line got power, it would add a ball to the game. So how does it get power? It gets power when the rocket special relay pulls in. So if the rocket special relay pulls in, you get an extra ball. So we're working backwards through the system. So what makes the rocket special relay pull in? Well, the rocket special relay pulls in when one of these two things happen. When there's a, so like on the right side, when the first position right captive ball switch, now notice it's normally closed. If a ball is sitting on that switch, it opens it up. That one's backwards than the other ones. So if a ball is sitting on the right side, this switch would be open, so these can't work. So the left balls, it can't be right. There can't be 5 on the left side if one's sitting on the right side, right? So let's say that one's on the left side, third position, then that would be the, I think that's the fourth ball, right? So the fourth ball is sitting on the third position switch, and it's closed. And a ball goes over the fourth position switch, which is the one up in the like kind of the horseshoe part, right? As the ball travels over it, you no longer have a ball on the right side, right? So we're knocking them all over to the left. There's no balls on the right because that last one's been knocked off, right? So this switch is closed. And there's already 4 balls on the left because there's one sitting on the third position switch, which is actually where the fourth ball is, but it is what it is. And then the fourth position switch, as the ball rolls over, it will hit that and connect power through it. Now, if that's the side that wants 5, depending on the position of the captive ball relay, it sends power through and turns on the rocket special relay. That's all working properly because we keep scoring rocket specials, right? Over and over again. But look at this. If the 5 balls in line relay pulls in, like if you get it one time, this relay pulls in. And we know that's pulling in because it's turning off the lights. We already saw that. But it has a normally closed switch on it. When it pulls in, this switch should open. So if that switch has opened, you shouldn't be able to get the rocket special anymore. So something's up with this switch. So you can actually hear the relay humming. This is the 5 in a row, 5 in a line relay. And if you look, ooh, this switch is actually open. That's the normally closed switch that's supposed to open. But look at this. The factory solder, and that's factory in my opinion. The factory solder on one of the lines from Williams has a big extra glob of solder on it to where it's actually shorting both of the blades together accidentally. So because of that, even though the switch has opened, it's actually still connected because that solder blob there from the factory has left it shorted. And it's probably been like that since the day it was built, so it's never worked quite right. It's been too easy to play the entire time that it's been on the earth, which is, what, 50 years now. So I'm going to hit that with the soldering iron a little bit, and that should fix that problem. So we need to, the other thing though is we need to figure out why it's not scoring. Remember, it always scored when it went from right to left, but it didn't always score when it went from left to right. What's that about? So we're deep in the schematics again. So you can get either 100 points or 1,000 points, depending on if you've completed the Skylab relay thing. Right? So we're working back from this. We're trying to figure out, okay, how exactly are we getting the 100 points or the 1,000 points? Well, let's just do the 100 points. If you go back, you can get 100 points by the 10-point relay, depending on where the score reel is, the number match unit, end of stroke switch, the left and right jet bumper switches, etc., right? And then you have this one. You can get 100 points through the Space Lab relay. So the Space Lab relay is, have you completed the Space Lab bonus? So you get 100 points if you haven't, and then once you do that, it moves over to now whatever this is will give you 1,000 points. So that's our area that we're messing with, right? Once you get to Space Lab, that light goes from 100 to 1,000, and you start scoring 1,000 points. It's because this Space Lab relay is in. Okay, so since ours always works going from right to left, this must be fine, right? That's not it. We're looking for something different from the left side to the right side. Well, then you get back here to here. The 5-ball inline relay, that's the one that we were just looking at with the extra blob of solder on it. Well, if this hasn't been pulled in, so if you haven't got your 5 balls yet, then this works. You can either get 100 or you can get 1,000 depending on the position of the Space Lab relay. Well, once you've got your 5 balls and won a free ball, that pulls over here. Well, now you just get 1,000 every time, which makes sense, right? And then if you head back, the captive ball relay. So that's the one that wigs and wags from the left to the right, depending on if there's more balls on the left or the right, whichever one's lit up, right? The captive ball relay handles that. So if it hasn't been pulled in, then the 4th position right captive ball switch gives you your credit. If it has been pulled in, then the 4th position left captive ball switch gives you your credit. So there's something going on with that, probably. It could be a switch on this captive ball relay, or it could just be that one of these 2 switches is dirty. We could probably figure it out by playing with it a little more, right? We could try seeing... So let's say the captive ball relay hasn't been pulled in. Well, that means, like, let's say the left side. The left side is how you get the 5 balls. That one's lit up. Well, as you knock the ball from right to left, it's going to use the only way it would score is if it's the 4th position right captive ball switch. If you knock the ball from left to right, you know, it should do it either way because it's rolling over both switches. It rolls over both of those switches as it goes by. So it... That's interesting. It probably has to be this switch. Let me look at that and see if I can figure anything out. All right, I cleaned the switches in the alley, and it seems to have made them work better. So it's interesting. It doesn't do it on the switch that you roll over first. It only does it when you're rolling down over the second switch. So no matter which way you do it, that's how it works. Just strange. But it seems to be working better now. But let's look at the last thing that I noticed. So again, whether the left ball lights or the right ball lights are on depends on the position of the captive ball relay. So let's see what makes the captive ball relay go back and forth. So the captive ball relay is a latch and trip relay. There's actually 2 relays. So it latches one way and then loses power to itself and just stays like that until the trip relay pulls it the other way, and then that loses power to itself and it stays like that until the latch relay pulls it the other way. So it has switches like this where 2 are connected, and then it goes this way, back and forth. So if it's latched, it's like that. If it's tripped, it's like that. Latch, trip, latch, trip. And the reason they use that instead of one that just pulls in is because it doesn't have to stay on. So if it had to stay on, it might sit there and burn up, right? So, and there's other reasons too, but that's just a good reason. Also, it'll stay like that when you turn the game off and back on. Or maybe, depending on how it's set up. So one way it latches, the other way it trips. Well, you see right, what makes it latch is the second position left captive ball switch. And what makes it trip is the second position right captive ball switch. So that second position switch on each side is what tells it. And again, the second position switch is actually where the 3rd ball is. They're just calling it that because there's 4 switches, so they say 1st position, 2nd position, 3rd position, 4th position, but it's actually where the 3rd ball lands. So it's real simple. If there's a ball on the 3rd side, on the 3rd one, then that one must have more balls than the other side because there's only 5 balls. so it makes it go one way or the other. So we need to see if it's having trouble latching or is it having trouble tripping. And then that'll tell us which one it is. It should kind of do it one way but not do it the other way. Now if they won't change back and forth at all, then maybe we got problems over here. But the way that gets power is either through the coin relay, because you just started the game, or the game over relay. That's interesting. Or the rocket special relay. So if the rocket special pulls in, it will go ahead and swap the light to the other side. Right? So we can kind of guess on it, actually. So if there is a third ball on the left side, then the latch must make the right side light up. If there is a third ball on the right side, then the trip must make the left side light up. So let's say you got all 5 balls, then you would be on this side. Right? So it's not the end of the ball, but let's say, how can we do this? It's kind of complex but simple at the same time. Second position, left captive ball switch. Okay, so let's say that you start the ball and there is a ball on the second position, left captive ball switch. So it pulls this in. But how would it do that if you hadn't got the rocket special? That's our deal. I'm wrong. I'm completely wrong. It doesn't do it. It holds over from ball to ball. Wow, it's working perfect. Okay, so there's 3 on Jubilee's different. We got to look up Jubilee now. We got to look at the Jubilee schematics. Jubilee's different. So, okay, so there's 3 balls on the left side. And then the ball ends. So I'm saying it should light it up on the right side. Because that would be harder to do. Well, how is it going to do that? The only way it gets power is through the coin relay. Well, you're not putting a coin in. The game over relay. The game's not over. Or the rocket special relay. Well, I didn't win the rocket special. So once you get all 5 on one side, you're going to pull in the rocket special relay, and that's going to trip or latch to the opposite side. But you won't know it because the 5 in the line relay comes on and turns off the lights, remember? But the next ball, it will be like that. Interesting. Let me look up Jubilee, because I'm pretty sure on Jubilee it wig and wags at every ball. Okay, so here's Skylab. This is the replay version of the same game, and it's almost identical. And all of this is identical, so it works the same way on Skylab. It holds over from ball to ball. That's pretty cool. Skylab is still a one-player game, so that kind of makes sense, I guess. Okay, let's look at Jubilee. See, that would be the difference, I'll bet. Jubilee is a 4-player game. So here is Jubilee and captive ball relay, latch and trip, same thing. They call it the captive ball switch, but there's one on the left and the right. And it does it every time the out hole relay pulls in. So every time the ball lands in the out hole, it judges which side is the hardest to get the balls to, and then makes that the one that you're supposed to do. But it kind of makes sense because it's a 4-player, you know. So you're going from player to player, so it resets it each time for each ball to make it the hardest possible so that somebody can't do cutthroat. But I think it might be more fun to do cutthroat. You could just, if you opened, well, no, that wouldn't be a good idea. Yeah, you'd have to leave it how it is. It'd take too much to wire it up the other way. Let me see if I can find another one that uses that same thing. Now, this is interesting to me. Y'all are probably so bored. You've already went to sleep. But damn it, I'm going to figure it out. All right, folks. So let's test something here. Let's see if... remember I said it does it on the... it does it when the coin switch, the coin relay is hit, or the game over relay, or the what was the other? The rocket relay. Okay, so now I've just made it where there's more on the right than the left. So that light being on the right it makes it too easy. So let's see if when we start it, it pops it over to there. It did. As soon as the coin relay came in, it did that. Okay. But it will hold over from ball to ball if I leave it like that. So let's test our little thing where it was giving us free balls over and over again. What do you think? Now, 100 points, but here I did it as it was falling down that side. Let's see. See, it doesn't do it when it hits that one. It's hard to do it with your hand. Okay, so this should give us a free game and turn the light off. All right, so now that we've turned the light off, there should, before when we went back to this side, it was giving us a free one. Now remember, we just looked at the schematics, and what happened was when we won the free one, the rocket relay came in, and since there's a ball on this side, on that second position switch they called it, or third position, whatever it was, since the balls are on this side, it has already switched it, that one relay that we were looking at, to where it's on this side. It's just you can't see it because it's got the lights turned off. And then at the same time, that rocket relay or whatever, the 5 in a line relay, has made it where you can't score the free ball because it's opened that switch up that was shorted, right? So we're trying to see if it's unshorted now that I think I unshorted it, and if that, we're trying to confirm that that was the problem. So we're still getting 1,000 points. That second light has turned on now. They had 2 lights wired in under this socket, depending on how you're getting your 1,000 points right now. So when I go all the way back, I should not win a free ball. So right now I'm on balls to play 6. Whoop. Perfect, folks. And if I go back, it shouldn't the other way either. It did rob me that time. Notice it's doing it on this side, on that one. Again, I guess it's because of the way that thing's wig-wagged. Whatever. So we got to keep watching that. But it didn't give me a free ball. So we're good. Okay, so let me reset it, actually. Okay, so we were cheating, so I don't want to do that. I want to play a fresh game. So I've reset it. We haven't started the game yet. But I place it now where there's 3 balls on this side. Well, we just did it that way. Let me go back the other way. Oh, come on now. Come on now. Oh, come on now. Oh, come on now. That's not how you... Work with me now. Okay. So it's set up right now. So this light should stay on because there's 3 on this side. It's harder to do it that way. So let's see if it stays that way when we start. It did. Okay, so I think everything's cool. Now there's some other stuff that we could do, like the pop bumper skirts are pretty bad. Those probably need to be changed. You know, we could do some more touch-up paint and all that, but the gentleman wanted us to figure out why the fuse was blowing. That switch up there is a little wide, too. Yeah, see how it's hitting it, but not triggering it. Because the switch is too... Ooh, and we didn't get our points again. That point thing is driving me crazy. The flippers are noisy too. The reason for that is because of the ooh, we're getting there. It just ain't giving us my 100 points each time. The flippers are buzzy because of the coil stops. Ooh, it took it from us. But luckily it holds that feature over. Oh, right down the middle. We're down to there's only 2 balls left to play. missed it. Come on, you sucker. That ain't gonna do it. That ain't gonna do it. I can't get a good swack at it. Oh, I missed. I missed again. Oh no. Missed. Oh, come on now. Oh no, we went back the other way. Look, now it's not scoring either way. It's not good, people. We got something completely misadjusted. Oh no! This is completely wrong. We're going the wrong way. Boy, we're getting some points though. It's still a pretty fun game. We got the Space Lab special. We got the Space Lab special. Well, shouldn't that have gave us the 1,000 though? It should have gave us the looping ball scores 1,000. I'm noticing little things here, folks. But maybe that resets. So if the Space Lab special relay comes in, it changes this to here. But then I guess at the end of the ball, maybe it resets that. Airballed it. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned, I looked at other schematics, and they never used that feature again. It was only on Jubilee, Darling, Space Lab, and Skylab. I can't hit that thing to save my life. She's playing pretty good. It's still got some little issues. But we're getting a lot of play for a quarter. Well, I did it backwards. I'm special. I thought I had it. There we go. There we go. You got to get it high on that left flipper. Bam! Oh, a little too early. I think we might do it, people. It might be able to happen. Whoop. I'm getting all the points, people. I'm getting all the points. I've got 95,460. Now, you saw I haven't cheated. I made it harder to play. And I'm not even getting all of my... Oh, there we go. I'm not even getting all of my I'm not even getting all of my points when it loops. Let me mess with a couple things again. All right, we're going to try it again and see if my scoring works any better. Boy, I had a ton of points that time. That's going to be the best game I ever played. Oh, look at that. It's a little flat, too. It would be better if we had some longer leg levelers on the back, I think. Oh, and I figured out the... Watch this. Oh, no, I didn't do it. I figured out the 1,000 light thing. So basically, when this gets up, I've got it set on liberal, which just makes it easier and you don't have to work for it. As opposed to conservative. So on the liberal setting, once you get to about here on this Space Lab, it changes that light from 100 to 1,000, these balls. If you got it set on conservative, you have to work real hard and get all the way up to here, and then it changes it from 100 to 1,000. So I've got it down here, and that resets whenever you get the Space Lab bonus. I think it's the only way to reset it. You have to once you get all the way through. So once it gets up to about C, it's going to move to 1,000 and stay there. Still didn't score. The scoring thing is driving me crazy. All right, yeah, I only got 56,930 that time. Let's play it one more time. Well, not quite enough. Oh, come on. Come on now. It's a very generous game, though. You win a lot of points on it. Boy, I can hear the tilters roaring now. Why don't you tilt it a little bit? Nudge it. Rub it a little on the side. We're not level. That's our problem. Oh, look, they made me go the other way now. I'd like to at least win one free one. Come on now. Missed it. Missed it. Bam! You thought that was going to be it, didn't you? Boy, the silence was palpable. Thing buzzes so much I hate to hold it in too long. It can handle it though. It's the coil. Stop. Oh, too early. Come on now. Come on now. Oh, man. Oh, man. Come on, man. Come on now. By the way, if you think I stole that from that moron, you're wrong. I did not. I was saying that long time ago, before he stole his first $10 million. Oh, no! Oh, no, we're going backwards. Not quite enough? Oh, come on. I mean, I gotta change my phrase now. All right, well, there you go, folks. It needs a little work still. I'd like to get it where it scores consistently. There's something still going on there. So I think the way to figure it out would be to put it on 100. Or put it on, 100. And then try it. And if it works pretty good, then build up the Space Lab till it goes to 1,000 through the Space Lab thing. And then try it and see if it works pretty good. And then if that works good, then do the 5 in a row thing, which switches how it scores, and then try it and see where it's messing up. Like if it only does it when it's trying to score 100, you can figure it out. Or if it only does it when it's trying to score 1,000, but it hasn't got 5 in a line yet, then you can figure it out. But there's something just that ain't quite, and it works most of the time. It just doesn't work every time. And I've looked at all of the switches. There's some little thing going on somewhere. There's a little gremlin left, right? And I think it would be better with new skirts for the pop bumpers. And, it kind of needs to be shopped, but we're just trying to get it going, right? So, like, for instance, that switch up there, what's happening is the rubber ring has sagged a little bit. It's getting old. It's not quite as spongy as it used to be. So the rings would help it a little bit. But it plays, everything plays good. And the flippers, when you hold them in, it's not trying to burn up or anything. You're just hearing a little bit of vibration because the coil stops are old. So it's the original coil stops, the original plungers and stuff. And there's just some wear in there, and it buzzes because they're not mating perfectly flat like a new one would. So the plunger comes in and hits the coil stop, right? Whenever you hit the flipper. Well, this one's all screwed up. It's like this. And this is all screwed up, so it's going. Now, folks, I could have wrote it or something, but that's the way to describe it. There's no better way to describe what's going on with that. I just perfectly described it to you. Don't get mad at me just because I buzzed in your ear. Come on. Some of you probably liked it. All right, folks. So leave your comments below. Make sure to give us a thumbs up. I like this game. The complaint on Jubilee and Darling and Space Lab and Skylab is that it's kind of a one-trick pony. You just try to make that shot. Point taken. But this one has the bonus. That's kind of cool. There's a bonus in Jubilee and Darling, too, but I don't remember too much about it. But this one's kind of neat, the way that bonus kind of interacts with this and all of that. So leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. Did you ever play Skylab? Did you ever play Space Lab, which apparently is more rare? Let me know what you thought of it. Make sure to check out my brother, Donnie. If you don't know about my brother, Donnie, he has a channel here on YouTube. The link is down below. I work on pinball machines, arcade games, and jukeboxes. My brother Donnie works on vehicles, mobile homes, buildings, and cows and goats. So I'm over there with him on his channel a lot. A fun time is had by all. Go check that out. And last but not least, we'd like to thank all of you wonderful people that have been using our links to Amazon. So down below there is a link to Amazon. If you are going to buy anything on Amazon, if you're not going to buy anything on Amazon, don't click that link because it takes you to Amazon. But if you are going to buy something on Amazon, before you go there and spend your hard-earned money, click my link to take you there. It doesn't raise your prices or anything. You don't have to sign up for anything. Simply all you do is click the link. It takes you to Amazon. And then you buy your stuff, and it gives me a tip because I sent you to Amazon. See how that works? Pretty cool. So we appreciate everybody that's been doing that. And if you don't want to do that because you don't like Amazon, that's fine too. I'm on this kick now where I don't like to buy anything from, it starts with the C. I'm not even saying their name anymore. There was a wrestler, a female wrestler with the same name. Um, um, there's not an E in the middle of it. It does not have a W in there. There's a country that's making all of the crap in the world right now, and I don't like that. Right? But if you go to Amazon, you can actually buy American-made, German-made, British-made, Italian, Mexican, Canadian. You can buy all kinds of cool stuff on Amazon that actually does not come from that place that I'm not even going to mention their name anymore. So on our website, if you go to lionsarcade.com, we have a parts page on our website. There's a link at the top of the page, lionsarcade.com. The link is down below here too as well, below the video. If you go to our website, we have a bunch of stuff linked on there. That's stuff that we use whenever we do repairs and things like that. And we've got on our website listed the country of origin, where the stuff's coming from. Now, some stuff you can't help but buy from communist countries in the East that make crap that, is destroying the world. Some stuff you can't help but buy from there. I buy stuff from there still because I have to. But if you can help it, I'm trying to change where I buy more stuff from countries where people have, rights and they actually do a good job when they make the stuff, like Switzerland. I want to buy stuff that's Swiss. I want to buy German stuff. I want to buy, you know what I mean? I want to buy stuff from a country that, I can't keep ranting about this, but I'm going to, you know what I mean. So go check that out if you haven't already. And we will see you on the next video. I'm going to work on it a little more. We usually what we do whenever it's doing stuff like this is we'll let it sit for a couple days, think about it a little bit, and then go back to it. And the problem becomes apparent. So if you got any ideas, what you think it is, leave the comment down below. But we'll see you on the next video. We've got tons of other games here that we're working on. We'll be back with another one in just a couple days.